Hey, welcome to this new tutorial. In this video, I am going to take you through the creation of an accounting system in MS Excel. We are not going to do something just complicated. We will just follow the accounting cycle and see how we can get up to the level of preparing financial statements in MS Excel while applying and studying some MS Excel tools, skills, functions, formulas which can permit us to actually get right up to the level of having financial statements. Of course, we will start with accounting entries. From the accounting entries, we'll move to the ledgers. After the ledgers, we'll move to the trial balance. From the trial balance, we will definitely get our financial statements. But for the case of this tutorial, we're going to focus on two financial statements. We're going to be talking about the income statement and the balance sheet. So are you ready? Are you ready to take this video or this course right up to the end? I will advise you to sit down comfortably, have your computer by your side and a notebook by your side so that it can go easily. So let's get right to it. Here I already have a sample I'm going to use. I've just made up a quick sample. Here I have a journal. From this journal, we're making accounting entries. Obviously, we are going to be following the OHADA accounting system. We are not going to be recording in terms of international accounting. We're going to focus on the OHADA accounting system, and we will definitely use the OHADA accounting plan in making these accounting entries. So I'm going to create a plan like this. I'm going to put in a worksheet the opening balances of the exercise I've taken into consideration, and record transactions, move it to ledger. Okay, in order to simplify it, I've just made a ledger in the tabular form. Then we'll create our trial balance. From the trial balance, we'll make our income statement, and from the income statement we will also produce the balance sheet. This is just a sample. We're going to create it from scratch together. We're going to see all functionalities in MS Excel that can help us take this to the next level, make it so beautiful. I have created a worksheet where we are going to be working it together. I am going to put this worksheet just the way it is in the video description, and from there you can download it just to have access to this exercise, and we can then work it out together. So let's get started. In here I'm going to create a new worksheet, and this worksheet is going to be the worksheet for the journal. So I'm just going to call it journal. In this worksheet, I'm going to arrange the way I'm going to be making my accounting or posting my accounting entries. Already here, I have created a sample, but let's look at it. I'm just going to change a little bit of things inside. So I'll get here, I'll create, let me just merge, let me just first of all write here journal. I'm going to arrange this letter. First thing I'll need is the date of the transaction. So I'm just going to put the date. After the date, I'm going to have the account number. But for the account number, I'm not really going to stress myself so much. I'm just going to put one column for the account number, not like here where I separated the debited account from the credited account. So I'm just going to create one column for account number, and from here I'm going to have the account description. It all depends. You can decide to put both the debit and credit side, but in this case, I'm just going to leave it this way. So I'm going to have the debited amount and the credited amount. So debit and credit. What else will I need? I can allow a section for comments if I want, so it can go easily. So in here, I can decide to make in such a way that this looks much more prettier. So I'm just going to rule a line at the bottom of it like this. Then here I'm just going to create some space for the column for the date. I'm just going to put borders by the side like this, and I think I want to apply this very same formatting to the whole other cells that are by the right. So I'll select all of these since I've already applied these borders here. What I'm going to do is that I will come at this bottom, I'll right click, then I'll drag towards the right, then I take fill format only. So this is filling format only, like I'm auto filling only the formatting. So when I do this, I have something like this. So of course I'm going to be increasing this with time. I'm just going to auto fill this downward so that the lines should just be the same. So from here, to make it much more prettier, I'm going to remove grid line. So come to view and remove the grid line so it looks like this. I will be arranging this with time as I'm going ahead. So here we are going to record transactions. So here we have transactions from January to March 2021. And okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transactions. Actually, they have not specified the dates. When I was arranging the exercise, I never specified the dates. So I don't know. I might just decide to take this one as the 1st of January, two as 2nd of January, and so on. But it doesn't really disturb. So at this level, I'm just going to arrange my worksheet so that it's just very perfect for me to work it out. So here is space for dates. Date will just be entered manually. Here it's going to be entered manually. At the level of the account number, uh, we are going to use account numbers. So instead of me might be typing account numbers all the time and might be putting the account descriptions all the time, I'm going to create a database where I'm going to have my accounting plan. Okay, so I can just create a new worksheet for the accounting plan. I'm just going to call this accounting plan, or chart of account. I could call it chart of account, but let me just call it accounting plan, commonly called hard accounting system. So here, I'm going to create an accounting plan, and I'll make sure that the accounting plan follows all the rules of accounting. That is the account natures, the account types, the movements of accounts, and equally its classes, like the debit balances, credit balances, and also the classes from class 1 right up to class 8. So I already have something like this here. So while you can be creating it on your own, as for me, I already have something like this. So the other settings, I'm going to make it with you so you actually see how it goes. So I'm just going to copy these two. Like, this is not the whole accounting plan. Okay, so these are just some account numbers we're going to be using in the course of this exercise. So I'm just going to copy these two. The rest we're going to automate it together, don't worry. So yeah, I'm going to copy these, come this way at the level of our work, and I'm just going to put the accounting plan there. The style doesn't really look like me, so I'm just going to remove the colors there. I'm just going to say no fill, and then I'm going to double click on this so that it should fit to content. Okay, what else can I do? So here is account number and account name, so I'm just going to put colors like this. What else? So in OHADA accounting, we have account classes, and in these account classes, we have from class 1 right up to class 8. And for each of them, we equally have what we call account natures. The account natures guides the debits and the credit movements. Like, for example, we know that assets increase on the debit side and reduce on the credit side. Because asset has by default debit balances. So I'm going to set up these balances, because when I will be working this out, in order to prepare my trial balance, I will need to know the type of accounts that can be debited. I will need to know the type of accounts that can be credited, because the balances or the way it behaves in terms of calculations depend on the type of balances they have. It means those who have debit balances will definitely increase on the debit side, and those who have credit balances will increase on the credit side. So here, I'm just going to come up with a different chart with the different account natures. For the account natures, I have assets. Let me just put it here, or I could create a page for settings. Why not? Yeah, let me create a page for settings. So let me create a page for settings. Actually, it is a system we are building. We are going to see how to link all these worksheets together so they give beautiful results. So I'm creating a page for settings, where I'm going to put some little things we'll be using throughout the work, so that from there we can attach it to different worksheets, and in case there is any modification to be made, we will just make it from the setting page, just as if we were building an application. I think we're actually building an application. So I'm going to call these settings. From here, I'm going to talk about the account natures. So natures. So Here I'm going to be talking about assets, liabilities, what else? Equity, expenses, and what else? Revenues. So I'm going to just mention these five main account natures. I guess, or I hope I'm not forgetting. Oh, I'm also going to be talking about yeah, I talked about contract assets. We are going to see how it goes with time, like when we are going to use it. Um, so yeah, I might not really need to have this contract asset account. So I'm just going to put it here. What do I then need to do? I need to give the default balance type. Like for example, asset has by default which type of balances? Which one? Obviously, they have by default debit balances. So I'm just going to do something like this, something like this. Let me just copy this and place it here. So assets will have debit balances, liabilities, credit balances, equity, credit balances, expenses will have by default debit balances. This was surely a mistake. And the revenues, credit balances, and then the contra asset will just increase on the credit side instead. So here is just to say that assets, or let me just say, um it's just to say that assets will be increasing on the debit side, liabilities will be increasing, or they are positive when they are on the credit side, equities are positive when they are on the credit side, expenses are positive on the debit side, revenues are positive on the credit side. It's just something like this. You're just going to see how we'll be using it to make things sweeter. So let me just also put borders in here, or I'm just going to put all borders so that it can look. But don't worry, we are going to be working all these with time. So why did I really need to create those account types? Because here we need to specify for each of these account numbers the account type, so that when we are making calculations at the level of a trial balance, we can know whether the account is actually increasing or decreasing based on what was done in the journal. Gradually you're going to see what is happening here. I am going to create the different account natures, meaning I'll make it in such a way that when we create a new account number, we will have to mention its account nature. And when we mention its account nature, it should give what? Its default account balance. Balance type, like debit balance, credit balance, and so on. It means that in this column, I'm just going to be talking about account nature. So what happens is that I'm going to create a drop down. I'm just going to put a drop down list from our settings for these account natures, so that each time we are here and we are creating a new account number or account name, we should mention its account nature. And when we mention its account nature, it should give its default balance type. When it gives, oh, this is a typo, default balance type. And when it gives its default balance type, I think I will equally need something like the account class. The account class, like class 1, class 2, class 3. So gradually you will see why I need this type of information, because when we'll be going ahead, we will need them. So in here, already, instead of having this in just this worksheet, I'm going to create here a table. I'm going to make all these to be in a table, because tables are very advantageous. We're going to see a lot of things with it. I'm just going to select the whole area, or I could just select one cell in the whole area, or I select the whole area. Then I go to, or not area, but the whole range. So I go to table, and something like this will appear, and I say my table has headers, because actually it has headers. So I'm just going to click OK. So this is in a table, but I'm not just going to allow this color. So I just want to have something very simple without color. So it will just come here and say no color, like none, like in terms of colors, none. Then I'm just gonna put some borders around. Then I'm going to take view and remove grid lines. Looks much more better. So here I'm going to have the header. Just going to change the color of my header. I think I will want to be working with blue color, so just going to put it in blue. Just that the colors now, or the text color, is no more good, so I'm just going to change the text color to something like this. Good. So I could also make it bold. Okay, so here we are now in a table. There are a lot of things that are going to be easy now. So in here, I'm going to put in this cell the account nature. It means that when I create cash, I should say it's account nature. Like I have to write here asset. Okay, when I see okay, account receivable, I'm just going to account receivable. Okay, account receivable, I'm just going to call it the liability account. This one, stock of goods, I'm going to call it no, account receivable, an asset account, sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to take this as an asset account, this one prepaid insurance as an asset account, yeah, equipment as an asset account, and so on. So you see, I'm just going to be writing it over and over because I just copied it from uh, this database. So, or just to make you understand that each time I will create a new account number, I'll have to mention the account nature. But instead of me typing the account nature all the time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a drop-down list from our settings because already we have created a different account natures. In order not to maybe make typos or waste time typing it again, given that it has already been entered at the level of our settings, I'm just going to create a drop-down list for this in our accounting plan in here. So I will select the whole range of cell, like from here right up to here, or I could just select the first cell. Then when I create a drop down list, I auto fill it downward. But since it is all through, I want to apply the drop down list. I'm just going to select the whole range. I will go to data and I go to data validation. From data validation, I will make sure that this cell doesn't take any value, but it takes a list. So I'm going to mention the source of the list. The source of the list is going to be in settings and year. So this is going to be the source. So I'm just going to take, okay, henceforth, any cell here will have a drop-down list. From there, we can be selecting the account natures. Like here, I'm going to select cash to be asset, this one to be asset nature, this one to be asset. So I'm just going to copy it from here. Since it's exactly the same, I'm just going to copy those account types from here and just paste it here. I'm just going to paste it here. But to paste it, I will not paste with format. So I'll just come here to the home page, to the home menu, and go to paste and then paste only values. So I guess it's just going to be exactly the same thing. Expenses. So I just need to make sure that the way it is written here is the same way it is written at the level of my settings. But here I wrote something like expense. Let me just remove this S. Here assets is exactly written assets, liabilities, liabilities written the same way, equity, contra account, and what? I think that's all. I think that's all. So I think everything is fine here. Good. So when we have now the different account natures, however, I just pasted this because I have already done it. So when you're creating your own accounting plan or your own account number, when you create or when you put the account number, you put the account name. After putting the account name, what you should do is to select from the drop-down list the account nature. And we will make in such a way that the account balances or the default balance type should appear based on the account nature. Already from the settings, we know that assets have by default debit balances, liabilities, credit balance. So instead of us writing here debit balance, credit balance, and so on, we're just going to create or use a function that will help us easily identify the default account type. And which function are we going to use here? The VLOOKUP function. So we're going to use the VLOOKUP function to look up to this value, meaning the account nature, the table array is going to be in settings, and this is going to be the table array. This is where we want to look or check on the account nature. So I'm just going to block this, or let me say put the dollar signs in front and behind of the figures so that it should be blocked, so that as I'm auto-filling downward, the table array should not be moving because it is a fixed table. So from here, the column index number, meaning the column where the default balance type is located. Already, when you look at it here in the settings, the account type is located in the second column of the table array. So I'm just going to put there 2. And the lookup range is going to be an exact match. I'm just going to put 0 for an exact match. So I'm just going to close bracket and I take the tab key, and you can see it is automatically detecting whether it is a debit balance or credit balance. Just that here there are some error messages because of the fact that the way I wrote revenue there and here is not exactly the same thing. So here I wrote revenues, so let me just remove the S and let's see how it goes. So now it is visible. So in here, we're just also going to add the if error function, so that in case there's an error, might be like here, when I'll be here and I'll add a new line, you will see I've added a new line in the table. Due to the fact I've added a new line to the table and that I have not yet selected an account nature, it is showing here an error message. We don't want to be showing this error message again, so I'm just going to use the if error function. The if error function, which will help us to know or to give an outcome to the cell when an error message appears, but the error message is not the fact that the function is not working. It is just because there is an unavailable information which will actually make the function work. So the value, or in our argument we have value, the value becomes all that which was in the cell, and the value if error, I'm just going to put quotes opened and closed. So I close my bracket, and henceforth I will not have the error message again. Now I want to determine the class. Already in OHADA accounting, the class of every account depends on the first character of the account number. So it means that I actually need the first letters here to let me know whether it is in class 1 class. It means that here 571 represent class 5, sorry, because the first character is 5. It means it represents class 5. So how do I then easily get the class from here? Like, I just want that each time I just start putting an account number, the class should automatically appear. So how am I going to do that? Let me think a little bit. So let me just start doing it. I'm just going to use which function am I going to use? I can use the concatenate function. The concatenate function which helps to merge many texts. And actually, the first character in our account numbers here represents the account class. It means I can just get the first characters of every account number and I'll have the account class number. So I can just use the concatenate function, or I can just decide and use the and sign in order to get it. So I can just say class. It's not a function here, so I'm just going to put it in code. I'm just going to put it in code. Like, the first text I need is class, and the next text I need is the number, so that it should say class 1, class 2, class 3. So I'm just going to use and, like the sign, the symbol and, so that it should say class and something, which is a figure, and the figure is the first character of the account number. So how do I go about sorting out the first character in our account number? So I'm going to use the left function, because the first character of the account number is located at the left of the account number itself. So I'm just going to use the left function, and the text is at the level of the account number, and the number of characters I want is how many characters? Just one character. Like, from the left, give me only the first character, like one character. So I close bracket and I take these. Oh wow, it's given. So here already have class 5, class 6, class 7, class 8. Oh wow, this is nice. It means that if I write, yeah, you can see there is nothing. Like, the last one here, there is nothing. It means that if I write an account number like 4452, you will see it will automatically detect it as class 4. Wow, this was nice. So yeah, why do I then want to have these account classes? Just so that I can be able to sort out the accounting plan, so that all class 1 should be the top, right down, meaning it should, I just want to sort in a descending, let's say ascending order. Okay, from from smallest class to highest class. However, smallest class will be class 1, then class 2, class 3. Just that for me to do that, I need to come to, since I'm using a table, I need to come to a filter, and I say from A to Z, meaning ascending order, I think. So when I take ascending order, it is going to restructure the way the accounting plan is placed. Like, it will start from class 1 downward, right up to class 7, and I can have it where here. So this was just structuring my accounting plan. Actually, I will not need this column. I'm just gonna delete this. I mean, this row. I'm just gonna delete this, so it just remains very perfect. So that's my accounting plan. So each time I want a new account number, I just come stand there, and I take the tab key, then I just put the account number like land, and I say land, for example, and I mention the account nature, which is asset. And when I mention the account nature, the default account balance type will appear, and the class will also appear. Now, in this case, each time I will create a new account, all I can do is just to sort it out again, and it's just going to place the account where it's supposed to be. That's how we can do it quickly. So from here now, we can apply or bring the account numbers in the journal, so that when we want to record a transaction, we can just select the account number. When we select the account number, we will want that the account description should also appear, so that we should not have to be typing that over and over. What does it mean? It means that if we have a transaction to record and that there is an account number we need to use, and that account number doesn't exist in our chart of account yet or in our accounting plan yet, we create it in the accounting plan in order to use it in the journal. And from the journal, we will just need to select it. And how do we need to select it? By creating the drop-down list at the level of the account number. It means that we're going to select all these range. I've just estimated right up to line 46. However, you can add it with time. So I'm just going to select the whole range. I'll go to data, data validation. Then I will come and select what the account numbers in the accounting plan. Just that there's going to be a problem. Let's look at something. If I come here, I select all this range, or let me just say just this cell, or let me just say the whole range. And I get to data validation, I select list, and from here, I select the source, which is going to be the account numbers in our accounting plan. So all these will be the source, right? From B3 right up to B28. So when I take OK, you will notice that there's now a drop-down list where I can select the account number I want to debit or credit. Now, if you look at this drop-down list, it ends with account 751. So if I go to the accounting plan and I add a new account number, which account number can I add? Let me just add an account number 139. Say, let me call it net loss, and I make it let me just say it's going to be a contra. However, it's going to be a contra liability account. Let me just take liability account for example. We're just going to sort this later on. But when I come here in the journal, you can see account 139 is not available. It is not available because the drop-down list was made to be fixed from B3 right up to B28, and any value or any account number that is added in this list will not enter. So what do I then do? I have to sort it out in a different way. Okay, so I come back to the journal. I will remove the data validation that I entered inside, meaning I'm going to remove the drop down list. I will just go to data validation and delete all, like remove everything, so it doesn't have any data validation anymore. I'll go to the accounting plan and I'm going to rename the range. I'm going to rename this range. This, what I'm about to do, can work only if this is in a table. Please, if it is in a table. If it is not in a table, you will rename a range of cells, and when you add content to that range of cells, it will not be added to the name. But due to the fact that already this range of cell is in a table, each time the table will expand, it will expand with the name I'm about to give to this range. I'm going to call this range account number. So I'll go to the name box. At the level of the name box, after I must have selected the range, I then mention the name of the range, which is going to be account number. So when I'm done, I press the enter key. So henceforth in here, at the level of the name box, I have a name that is called account number. And each time I will add a new line to this table and I put anything inside, and I come here and I select account number, you will notice that the new line that I must have added is included in the name account number. As a result, wheresoever this table is going to downward, account number will always have the range. As a result, if I use then account number at the level of the creation of the drop-down list of the account numbers at the level of our journal, we will be very sure and certain that every account number that enters in the accounting plan has or is visible at the level of the drop-down list in here. So I'll just go to data validation. Instead of me selecting the source manually from B3 to B28, I'm going to call for the name. And how do I call for the name? I call for the name with F3 on my keyboard. On my keyboard, I have the F functions, F3, and I call for F3. I can then use these. So I'm not just going to select a range which is going to be blocked, or I'm an estimate long range. So I'm just going to put here account number, which is a name I earlier gave to the account numbers at the level of our chart of account. From there, I take OK, and every account number that will further increase or add in this chart of account is going to be visible in the drop down list. Let me just give an example here. I'm just adding a new account, and from the journal, if I get here, you'll see the new account is now visible. It definitely means it's working. So what do? I'm just going to remove this funny stuff I've just put here, and from there I'll come here. I'm done with the account numbers. What next do I need? I need the account description, which is the account name actually. Okay, so I want that when I select an account number at the level of the accounting plan or for the journal, for example, like this, the account description should automatically appear, so that I don't have to put the account name again time and over. It's gonna be stressful, man. So I'm just going to impute here a function that will automatically detect the account name of the account number that is highlighted or selected this way at the level of the account number. Which function are we going to use? The VLOOKUP function or the index function. So, or the index and match function, so they can help us gather the information from the database. So this is our database. The database is the accounting plan, and we need what is in the second column of this table. So we're just going to use a VLOOKUP function, and I'll definitely start with the if error, so to avoid eventual error messages or in the cell. So I'm just going to start with the if error directly. So now I'm just going to use now the VLOOKUP function. We're looking up to the account number in the table array, in this table array, and the column index number is column number 2, meaning the account name is in column number 2, and the match type, I want an exact match, so I put 0, a close bracket. So here I'm done with the VLOOKUP function, and all these VLOOKUP function is located underward, is located under the value of the if error function. So I then take comma in order to get to the value if error, and the value if error in my case is just going to be nothing. Like nothing should happen in case there is an error in that cell. So I take the tab key and you can see. So when I select an account number, you can see the account name appears automatically. And when there is no account number, no account name, that's actually what I wanted to do. So I'll just autofill this function all through, so that each time I am selecting an account number, like even if I'm right here, I'm selecting an account number, the account name should automatically appear. That's actually what I wanted to do, which is already fine. Amount debited and amount credited are going to be entered manually based on the transaction amount. So how will it then go? We will have to take the exercise and record the transactions. Actually, for now, the journal is okay. Okay, for now, the journal is okay. So we're going to have some further modifications and we're going ahead. But let's just make an accounting entry, and we'll make one accounting entry. Then I'll stop this video at this level and make all the accounting entries. You can equally go ahead and make all the accounting entries. Then we will meet in the next video where we will move to the next step. But let's record the first transaction together, where we have purchase of inventory 15 million, paid 7 million cash, and the remaining on credit. It means we bought goods. Part of it was paid by cash and part of it was on credit. So I'll just go to the journal, and according to the OHADA accounting, I can put the date. Since I never mentioned the date, I just decide to put, it might be January all through. Let me just put January. Oh, it's surely not January. So here I'm going to put the account number. The account number I'm going to debit here is 601. I don't know if I have it here. I might not have. Okay, this is 601. So you can see the account name has appeared. So I have to debit 601 by the purchase of goods, the purchase of good transaction, which is going to be 15 million. Then I'm going to debit or credit the means of payment, or what did they say? It is cash payment of 7 million and remaining on credit. So I'm going to acknowledge the customer, no, the supplier, I mean, with 41401, the supplier's account, and I'm also going to have a cash account, which is 571. So cash was paid 7 million. It definitely means that the supplier's debt is 8 million. So when I have it that way, the sum of these two is giving 15 million, which is equal to the sum of the credit side. So here, if I want now, I can allow space for comment. If I have to put any comment, I can put it here. So from there, I'm just going to close this entry and we get to the next one, and so on and so on and so on. We will get to the next transaction
and record all these transactions. So I'm going to stop this video this way or in at this level, and I will take advantage and record all these transactions. So you can do same on your side. You record all the transactions in your journal. Then we meet in the next video where we move to the next level. I hope you enjoyed the first video of this program, and hoping we move right up to the end. Thank you.